I have never seen something quite like this. Wow. Hello friends, welcome back to Blackmagic Craft. Today I got a quick product video for you. Don't do a lot of these anymore, but I do make a special exception for Archon Studios. In this box I have production samples from something really cool that they developed for their most recent Dungeons and Lasers release. I'm no stranger to their products. I love it. I've worked with it a ton in the past, and their injection molding process is top notch. Plus they're very competitively priced. This is the company that I hired to make the models, the 2 sprues for my own game, Idols of Torment. So that should show you how much trust and faith I have in this company. They've got a new set of Dungeons and Lasers tiles called Caves, which have a bunch of really freaking cool themes. Ones that are a lot more my vibe than traditional fantasy, but that's not what we're looking at. What we're looking at today is Prismacast. What the heck is Prismacast? Well, it is a new technology that I don't know if they've invented it, but they've implemented it to bring you pre-painted plastic, injection molded plastic terrain. So they've already had these on offer. I've actually shown this set in the past before, but their old sets and their new sets are now being offered with this Prismacast pre-coloring. I suppose you could call it pre-painted terrain, but I don't think that's exactly accurate. These are colored on the sprues, but unlike some other companies that have offered pre-painted terrain, which is literally terrain that they have hired people to paint, this is a crazy new system. I didn't even know it existed. So apparently they take their plastic models and they get one of their studio artists to actually hand paint the sprue. And I have a sample of that here. This is actually hand painted by one of their artists. And with another bit of futuristic technology, they scan this, but 3-dimensionally. They use some sort of fancy scanner to pick up all the color and the elevations and the heights and the depths and get like a 3D mapped color pattern. And then somehow with some printer, I don't even know what it is, they're able to run the sprues through and it paints, copying the artist paint with some kind of ultraviolet paint, which is supposed to be very, very durable and strong. And you can see that while it's not identical to the ones painted by the studio painter, obviously the printing technique has a bit of its own look. The color is slightly more washed out, and it's a tiny bit textured. Has a very, very fine texture to it. And since this is printed, I guess every single one is exactly the same. Like where the artist overbrushed onto the sprue right here, it's replicated that across every single one. Although, actually, they have some, these aren't all completely identical. I thought they were. They have some variation, some blood splattered ones. This one has a blood splattered hand, which I love. That's a really nice detail. Yeah, this whole section here is very blood splattered. And of course it's double-sided. I'm blown away by this process. Although, to be honest, I think some of the painting could be kicked up a notch. I don't know if that's a limitation of the technology. If you have a bunch of people actually painting stuff on an assembly line, you obviously got to keep things pretty simple. But I would think that if an artist only has to paint a master and then it's scanned and printed, they should be able to put a little bit more detail into things. Like, I'm not completely in love with the way these torches look. On something like this, I'm not sure why it's not more well defined between, say, what I guess would be like a brass hinge versus the door. That could be a limitation of the actual technology. That being said, if you open up a box like this and it's ready to go, dang, like that is so convenient. And let's be honest, the paint job on these is far superior to that of a lot of hobbyists. There's another set here they sent. This is like one of the classic sets, and I think this is one of the newer ones. So it's got this nice stonework, some water, some muck. The lanterns and stuff could be better. On this door here, there's like a little cutout here that I feel like should maybe be metal bars, not painted the same color as the door. But the finish on these is just really interesting. Now, as cool as this is, it's obviously only gonna be useful if it's durable. Everything I'm gonna do for sure would take off, scratch, damage a piece that you painted yourself. So if it's better than that, and wow, I have to press really, really hard to start scuffing. And it only actually leaves a little bit of white residue. I don't think I'm going down to the plastic. I think I'm going down to whatever sort of white primer layer their printers use. Okay, so a really sharp knife can scratch it, but it's a lot more durable than something I paint myself. Like, that's very impressive. And obviously you're not gonna be doing that with your terrain. What you might be doing is throwing it in storage boxes and having them rub together. Okay, I was not being shy with that. And I think maybe I got a little bit of paint that rubbed off here, but again, it's only like the top layer and the color is still underneath, like no plastic is showing through. A little bit here maybe. Whatever this UV paint is, I'm assuming it's like similar to like a UV resin, which uses ultraviolet light to cure, making it very strong. This is 10 out of 10, an 11 out of 10. I think the actual paint job is, I'd say like a 7 out of 10. Some spots it's great. Some spots it falls short, but the durability is like a friggin' 11 out of 10. This is painted on the sprue, and Arkon sprues are notorious for having a lot of these contact points that are fairly large and need to be snipped. So that's not gonna be painted. I'm gonna cut some of these out to see, but I don't think there's any way around that. Like, there's no way they got paint in there. So this could be the biggest flaw of the product. Oh, I just realized something. Smart. I didn't think of that. When I was trying to scrape these, I was looking to see if I could get it down to the gray plastic, but they didn't make these with gray plastic. The actual sprue, at least on this one, is green. Clever. So any parts that don't have paint, like these edges, while not perfect, blend in. That's right, Arkon has the ability to injection mold with an infinite number of colors, so they can use plastic that matches the actual like undercoat of the paint style on any given set. Like this one here, I didn't notice, I thought it was just painted brown, but this is brown plastic, so when it gets cut off, you're just gonna see brown, you're not gonna see gray. And I thought that would be the absolute failure point for this idea, but it's not. Like, this is completely serviceable and fine. I guess the only downside compared to painting it yourself is that you would be able to really sand these smooth before painting them, so you wouldn't see these little dots at all. But the fact that you see them and they're at least the right color is really nice. And on most of the parts, it actually doesn't matter, right? It's more of an issue on, say, something like this, where it's on the exposed top edge of the wall. Like, even if you sand it, because the color is essentially the base coat of the paint job, it's not a 10 out of 10, but like, that is a 8.5 out of 10. Now, in the context of convenience and cost, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, this is impressive. If you're not familiar with this system, the way it works is there's these little clips and they connect everything together. So you can assemble huge rooms and move them in one piece. They clip on like this, they fit really nice and smooth. So now you have these two pieces that are stuck together and your walls can click inside. Let's find a door. I like the efficiency of this sprue where inside they put one of the lantern bits to actually use that space. I mean, at a glance, you cannot tell that this is not painted or that there was little snip marks. This is crazy! And this PrismaCast technology is one of the coolest things I've seen in a very long time. There are some other pre-painted, ready-to-use dungeon tile systems on the market, but I think that the Dungeons and Lasers ones have always been the best value for your money, and now that you can get them pre-colored, it's a no-brainer. Archon never ceases to amaze me. They always send me new stuff. They're always pushing the boundaries, trying to improve and be at the top of their game, and they keep doing it. So what do you think? Let's hear your thoughts on this PrismaCast technology. And if you want to check out the campaign, see all the other cool sets, get some of these for yourself, I'll put a link in the description where you can do that. How long is it going to be until they start selling actual character minis like this? Cheers. See you later.